Hi, this video is about 5 new YouTube strategies to make money fast with affiliate marketing in 2021. You can obviously use this for other businesses as well. The purpose of this video really is to go through what's happening in the media world and why it's having an impact on your profit margins and why it's traditional marketing as we've known it's changing. So I'm going to highlight what's happening in the market and then look at the things that you need to do to address that. And at the very end, or somewhere around the middle, I'm going to summarize again and there's really only 4 or 5 things that you need to do to take advantage of what's happening. The first thing to note is there's been huge change in media consumption. You'll know this yourself: newspapers, radio, podcasts, Netflix, etc., etc. And it's really changed the landscape for marketing if you're a business in terms of the ability to reach your customer. The traditional routes are all changed, and they're also much less effective than they used to be. So you've got a combination of media being less effective, but also audiences being all over the place. So you need to try and use as many media as you can to try and reach them. There are ways that can help you improve that. Shopping has changed. Shopping will be really part of another video, but we know the e-commerce world's changed and it's really accelerated over the last year, particularly as a result of the pandemic. And what it all means is that making a profit is becoming harder and harder for businesses, mainly because of the cost of marketing and the unseen cost of time, which often isn't allocated into a cost budget. But the time that it now takes to keep on top of all of the things that you need to do makes it incredibly difficult, and it makes it really hard because you then can't focus on the business. So keeping your business revenues at a level that they used to be, that are also sustainable to drive your cost base, is just becoming more difficult and just takes more time. So what we're all trying to do clearly is have a good living and have lots of time to do nice things. So we really need to try and address what's happening in the world to try and reduce our cost base, but sell more, and that really is possible. If you look at newspapers, I just really want to just underline that newspapers have seen a huge decline. I used to work for a large newspaper group, and we were selling around 3.5 million when I started. And these days they're selling, just under 1 million. There's been an unbelievable change in that market. Radio, we know, radio is becoming more generic. Strangely, for a while it was going more local, and it seems to, again, to manage the cost base, because the ad revenues were falling as audiences declined. They had to start, centralizing the staff, which made the content less and less relevant, which is crazy given how important relevance has become. Television too. The idea of, it used to always be, I know that we still do the Super Bowl campaigns, but generally speaking, television advertising, although it's slightly cheaper in some cases, it's also less and less useful because you're not getting that mass reach. But the question is whether or not you really want that mass reach. And there is a feeling now that the old way of marketing for mass reach, hitting everybody at once, just doesn't work anymore. And if you look at just to pick newspapers, because it used to be dear to my heart, you'll see that revenues have fallen 62% just in over the 10-year period to 2018. That's absolutely massive. And circulations, as we've already said, they're now potentially lower than they have ever been, although you can only go back to 1940 to get any kind of sales level. And that's happening across the broad spectrum of traditional media. On top of this, and one of the reasons traditional media has become less relevant for advertising and consumers, but certainly for marketers, is that 90% of people actually get annoyed with advertising that they think is irrelevant. It interrupts them, and I think they notice it more now because so much more is going via mobile. So irrelevance isn't just something which is a waste of money for the marketer. It's incredibly annoying for the consumer, and that's really not good for the brand or the business. At the same time, though, what we're seeing is if you provide relevance, then you're going to get almost twice as much engagement, and that's really quite incredible. So this idea maybe that, 3% or 1 to 3% return on your campaign, actually, if you're targeting well, it can go up to 50%. And I know most people just don't believe that, coming from the traditional world. But what we're seeing is this massive shift in digital, and I don't think anyone really knows where it's going at the moment. But we know that it's happening, and we know it's changing. But underlying everything, we've seen this trend for a long time. Relevance is absolutely critical. So if you take nothing else away from this video, it's relevance. Relevance is the most important thing that you can provide. When I say provide, I don't mean in terms of product, but in terms of obviously your marketing. But obviously the product has to be relevant to the market. And to go back over and to again underline, having run businesses and both media businesses and otherwise, this constant squeeze in profits just seems to be ongoing. It's the biggest challenge that any business faces. It drives your ability to invest in either new products, new services, or indeed new marketing. It restricts your ability to hire staff to grow into any of these markets, which is all about somehow or other driving the additional revenue, or as much revenue as you can. The ability to sell without ad costs, we've traditionally thought, well, that's just not possible. But actually, if you're clever, you can manage that ad cost down. It's critical and important to think of where to do that and how to do that, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to grow your business. I mean, the cost squeeze, I am labouring this, and I apologise for that, because I don't want you to get all depressed, but but don't, because there are solutions. But the costs were advertising, graphic design, production, all of this, freelance copywriting. If anyone's been involved in business for the last 10 years or more, indeed, your agency costs, to write the stuff, to make the ads, to get them placed, media buying agencies, freelance copywriters or copywriters. The great thing is that these days, I just can't believe how much of this you can get online for almost no cost. I mean, I set up a business directory 20 years ago now, actually, and we spent millions on the platform. And last year or earlier this year, I was working with online directories that you could buy in WordPress. It's amazing. You can get freelance from Fiverr, Fiverr. They can make your graphics. This graphic came from a free, this is free stock photo. I mean, and I remember in the days you used to always have to go and hire photographers. So the tools are there now that allows you to take the cost down. The question is, how do you use them? And how do you use them? But also, you don't necessarily want to be doing it all yourself. There is a benefit of outsourcing, and one of the problems is time. We've gone through the traditional media, but these days we all know about the online media: Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. It seems to be every other month there's a new platform that you really need to be thinking about, and they all take time. You'll spend hours sometimes making posts, getting the right posts, thinking about the post, responding to customers. Messages come through, your phone can just buzz every 3 minutes, and really the question is, are these customers, or are they people who are just engaging for interest? So somehow or other, you really need to think about the purpose of your social. I think there's nothing wrong with social in terms of brand engagement and in terms of brand, but don't necessarily look at it as the final sales driver, if you like. It will get there, but it's not going to close your sale or make that revenue today. The other problems we've seen are the review sites. Reviews are really important. People look for reviews. But the annoying thing is, people go onto a review site and post something up and you think, oh God, that's just a load of rubbish. So it's, keeping on top of quality and understanding that reviews are important and somehow managing that. And try not to confuse the cost of clicks. as I think I've said before, when I ran that campaign for a property rental company, I spent tens of thousands of pounds on Google advertising, and I was getting great clicks, and that's why I was spending tens of thousands of pounds. But none of them were renting, and none of them were buying. They just thought it was interesting, but they weren't buyers, and that was a huge lesson in terms of, you forget audience. Really, it doesn't matter. I can have 1 million views. I just want the 10 people that really want the service or product that I'm selling, because that's the only way that I can afford the marketing and afford to keep the business going. I'm going to make that last point again about the time. The amount of time you can spend is just incredible. And I hope that it's come over that the most important thing is find only the people that are interested in your product. They're the only people you want. Now, it might be that some of them are going to buy in the next year. They're not going to buy now, but they're still your customer, and that's probably where social media or email marketing comes in. But you're going to have 10% of people that, if you've structured your audience well, your targeting well, there's going to be 10% of people who actually want to purchase your product right now. And you want to convert them, and you want to find them, but don't forget the others. And this is why YouTube can be really helpful. YouTube is a billboard, if you like. So you can use YouTube even in itself to get your customers to know you, to show your product. So it's an advert in a sense, but it also provides and delivers other benefits. It gives you traffic to your site. It enables you to promote your product. Again, within relevance, try and look for, try and add value. Look for things that customers are going to find interesting, which drives really your focus on your targeting. You can use, there's no reason why you can't use YouTube if you've got a YouTube channel, to sell other products. If you've got a particular interest, if you're an agency or a consultant or a coach or an author, or a dog food provider, or you're into the pet sector, or of course, if you're an affiliate yourself, then it's a great way to be able to show different types of products and services. So you can extend your business really with no cost, because you don't have the cost of the product. You can YouTube, it can help target and find your niche. If service and location is important, you can use that to help people find you. Location is a great one, actually, and I'm thinking obviously in my old experience in the directory sector. A restaurant in Walnut Creek, it's going to be more relevant to me if I live in Walnut Creek than getting the result of a relevant in downtown San Francisco. And all this leads back to focus and target, because if you focus and target properly, you're going to be relevant. Whatever you're offering is going to be relevant, and that is the most important thing. You use YouTube as your billboard. You're targeting well. That means you're talking to the right people who are in the right frame of mind, who are ready to buy. And if they're not ready to buy now, they'll be ready to buy within the next year. You can link to your website, you can link to your other social media channels for ongoing engagement if you choose. And of course, the most important thing is the keywords that are coming into Google as a result of your YouTube videos. It really matters, because obviously YouTube's the number 2 search engine, Google's the number 1, then the algorithm pushes through the audience into Google, and Google loves video. There's no question that if you find your right keywords, you will get the number 1 listing on Google, and you won't have to pay for it, and you're going to see other customers there that have paid for it. The tools you need, Google, really, just do a Google search, put in your keyword, do a wee space. You can use tools, keywords anywhere, Keyword Surfer, TubeBuddy, vidIQ. Don't forget to tag it. Put in your, when you're uploading to YouTube, don't forget to put in your, the description of your video and your tags. And there you go. I mean, it's. I'm not going to say easy, because you will have to spend a bit of time on it, but it's possible. You can transform your business very, very quickly by using the power of YouTube. Now, in this presentation, I have used PowerPoint, pixels for stock pictures, computer audio and voice record, Canva. I made my thumbnail with Canva Canva for my YouTube thumbnail, and then I've used that as my cover picture. And they've recorded this presentation on Zoom. So there you go. So I just like to let you know that making a video isn't that difficult, and you can use lots of tools that you already have. Now, in the next video, I'm going to have a look at Facebook and some of the other social media platforms. Actually, I'm going to have a look at Google actually in terms of ad costs as well, just to try and go a little bit deeper into that. And I might touch on shopping, or I might save that for another video. So please subscribe if you want to catch up with any of these videos and not miss them. And for goodness sake, if you have comments, thoughts, tips that you can give others, any tools that you think are going to be useful to help people, or any research on what's happening in the market, please comment. Thanks very much.